Hi guys, Virginia here and I'm back with another 12 by 12 process video for you today, and this one's for the SpiegelMom Scraps design team, and I'm just showing you all the things that I'm going to be using for this layout. So we've got Unicorn Dust sequin mix from SpiegelMom Scraps. It's gorgeous, it's full of blacks and pinks and some white ones as well, and a whole bunch of different little shapes. And I have cut out of some pink and black cardstock using a Miro geometric heart die, and I'm going to make some shaker pockets. I've also grabbed some paint. I'm going to go all mixed media-y on this layout today, which is completely unlike me, but I just felt like it. I really wanted to go with the whole black and pink colour scheme that's in those sequins. So I've got some black Dina Wakley acrylic ink, and I've also got some light pink Vicky Booten acrylic ink, not ink, paint as well. And I've just grabbed a rather wide paintbrush, and I'm just picking it up and smearing it on. I'm going to have it all kind of left justified, and it's a little bit more than a third of the page, but that's okay. But I'm just going through and painting a bunch of alternate stripes of those colours. So I'm just going through the pink now, and I'm going to add one last one at the top. And just to add that pink and black paint over to the right hand side, I'm going to add a bit of water to that paint and splatter it all over the place. So I'm going to do some on those stripes and on the white part of the cardstock as well. So I'm making sure to get some really big blobs of paint. And then I'm going to go with the black. I lost my little mini mister. I don't know where it's gone. So I'm having to kind of pick up water out of my water jar and add it to the paint. But that's okay, it still works the same. So I've done that, and I want to bring in some gold as well. So I'm going to grab my gold Liquitex acrylic ink and splatter some gold around the page as well, and that's just going to add a nice little touch of sparkle onto the layout. Okay, so I did think maybe I could mount the cardstock on something just to kind of frame it, or have a bit of pattern paper to the left or the right hand side. But I quickly decide no, it's not gonna work. It's not looking right. So I put those pattern papers to the side in a minute, and I decide to get cracking on my shaker pockets. So I've cut these, like I said, out of some Miro geometric dies, and I've got 2 pink and a black one. I've gone for 3 because odd numbers are more pleasing, and they're rather large, so I felt like 5 would be a few too many on the page. So I'm just going through with some acetate and just cutting off enough acetate that'll fit around those heart shapes. And then I'm going to glue that cardstock onto the acetate with that cutout shape. So I'm just putting a very thin line so that it doesn't spill out onto the acetate. Making sure I do the centre as well. And I can just pop it on the acetate. And I'm just going to sit something on it so that it stays flat and dries straight. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done the other 2. I'm just going to quickly trim off that excess acetate that's hanging off the edge of that die cut. Because we don't need that on the shaker pocket. Quickly trim that off. And now I'm going to add my foam. This is what forms kind of like the barrier to stop the sequins popping out of the shaker pocket. So because these dies cut a really fine line, I've had to cut the foam really thin, but that's okay. I managed to get it to work, and I'm just going to thread it in around the edge of those hearts. So I'm going to create a frame around that heart shape. And I'm just going to finish it off. I'll make sure there's no gaps because there are a few little tiny sequins in this mix, so I don't want any of them to fall out. So there we go. I'm just butting those edges up together, and that's it. Rightio, so they're both done now, and I can go about embellishing my page. So I'm using some older crepe paper collections. I like the idea of using these because there's a lot of pink and black in them, and I really wanted to stick with the pink and black theme. So I'm going to mount the photos of my daughter Addison. We'd just been to see the movie Ballerina, And she's wearing a pink dress, and the background's kind of really dark. It's kind of at the movie theatre, and it's dark carpet and joinery and stuff. So I felt like this photo would go perfectly with the colour scheme. And I'm just mounting it on pink and black pattern papers from the 6x6 paper pad from Heart Day. And I'm going to bump it up on some foam. And I'm going to start by at first placing those hearts, because they are my key features on this layout. I really want those hearts to be kind of the show. So I'm going to quickly go through some die cuts. Now there's a mix of crepe paper Valentine's collections in here, so I'm just kind of sifting through and finding pink and black pieces. I also do bring in a little bit of gold, of course. I can't help myself. So I pulled out a few, mainly hearts. I've got a couple of tags here that are layered to the left hand side, and I like the idea of this light bulb one, but I do come across a slightly better one later on. Okay, I'm going to go through my other embellishments that I've got for from Valentine's collections, and just again looking for pink and black pieces. So I found a bunch of banners that are pink and black and white, and so I'm going to add them. At the top here, I felt like this would bring a pop of interest over to the right hand side of the page. It was feeling quite bare. A couple of arrows, we've got a gold one and a pink one, all kind of pointing at the photo, and that's bringing your eye directly. It's like, look at the photo. I also found another little banner which it fit perfectly from that first shaker pocket heart to that other banner. I felt like that was a good way excuse me, to connect those two embellishments, I guess. And just continuing to look through, finding stickers. We've got some black ones, some gold hearts. Just really kind of emphasising that heart theme that we've got going on. I'm just going to go through some little words. We've got I adore you. And another little gold one up there. And last thing, we'll go through the chipboard sheets. And this is the tag that I found. It's black and white, and it's X's and O's, and it just felt like it would pop off the page a little bit more, which it does. And that gold glitter just adds a little bit of gold over to the left hand side of that photo. So I'm going to layer that in there. And we've got a little black and white polka dot heart. I'm peeling the chipboard off the back of these because I'm not too sure whether I'm going to want to put them there, but this is just an easy way to kind of move bits around. We've got another chipboard heart. I replaced that with that little face one. She just wasn't quite doing it for me there, so I've moved that out of the way. And a little XOXOX chipboard piece as well in black, and that's just bringing black into each of those clusters. You can see I'm kind of alternating the pieces that are in each of those clusters. So we've got a pink piece and a black piece and so on. Okay, so I'm rather happy with this. I'm going to start to adhere everything down. So those banners, I want to bring a bit of interest and dimension to that little banner that's going on up there. So every black and white one I am popping up on an adhesive foam square, and then the pink ones are just adhered directly to the layout. I'm going to start forming my shaker pockets now. So I'm just sprinkling a few of that unicorn dust sequin mix in there, just spreading them out, making sure that everything's kind of evenly dispersed around there. And I'm going to place glue on the entire back of that heart die cut shape, and then pop it down in place. So I do put it down and realise that I didn't even realise there was some little clear, sparkly dewdrop type sequins. You can see me there just picking them out. They're a bit too tall for my cut file, my die cut, so I do just pull them out, but I've put them back in the pack so they'll come in handy later on. So I'm just going to push it down firmly, make sure that it stays, and then continue to kind of work my way around the page, gluing everything down. For this chipboard piece, I'm going to glue in place, and just kind of working my way from the bottom up. So I can start on the second shaker pocket now, just adding my sequins, same as before, and the little tiny black hearts were getting stuck to my fingers. There we go. Okay, and just pulling out the really large pieces, like those little clear droplets, just so that I can adhere that heart die cut in place properly. There we go. Okay, I'll continue on working around, and there we go. I'm all done. So I'm just going to add some finishing touches. I wanted some more pops of colour, so I felt like these larger black hearts in the sequin mix would be a perfect addition. So I've pulled out a few of them, and I'm going to scatter them around the layout. They're a really nice size sequin. I love these ones. So I'm just going to add them. I'm popping a little bit of glue behind those stickers that's on the acrylic paint, because I could see them lifting up, and just have a feeling that when I put them in my album they're not going to stay put. So I'll continue with these sequins, just scattering them around. Another one up there. And I felt like it needed some more smaller bits, so I'm going to brave it and use those tiny, tiny, tiny black little hearts and add them around the layout as well. And I think that just finished it off. They were the perfect little detail, those tiny little black hearts. So I'm just putting a very small amount of glue and popping that little black sequin in it. Okay, so that's all done. I'm going to work on my title. It's just going to be Beautiful Ballerina. So I've got some really fine, quirky kind of black puffy stickers. They're from Freckled Fawn. So I'm just going to spell out the word beautiful and ballerina. So I'm just propping them in place. And yes, I do very much know that beautiful does not have two L's in it. I do take it off later on once I realise. I think I had the word ballerina in my head and I was trying to count out whether I had enough L's, and I put it on and then realised, no, it doesn't have two L's. Okay, so I'm just spelling out the rest of the word, ballerina. And I'm trimming off an M because I didn't want to have another capital letter in there. And there we go, it's all done. I do trim down the L, but I do take it off. Okay, quite happy with that. I'm going to pop a little bit of glue behind them because they're quite old, so they're losing their stick a little bit. Just finishing it off. I felt like it needed a little bit of something else, so I'm going to go to my trusty little notebook punch, Fisker's notebook punch, and just trim off this top left hand corner, and then just kind of tear off the excess, and then I can ruffle up those bits. And I decided to go with black. This is the black cardstock that I used to cut the black heart die cut out with, and I'm going to leave it whole behind that because that's going to help to kind of straighten out my layout as well when I adhere it all to it. And then I'm just going to add some gold glitter as well. I felt like I needed a bit of pop of gold up there just to kind of even that out on the page. So I've done that to my gold glitter cardstock and just cut off a little strip. I'm going to layer that up there, pop a whole lot of ATG on this black cardstock, and then layer that behind the rest of my layout, and it's going to help to kind of flatten it out a little bit. Now I can trim off the excess because I didn't quite line it up very well. Same on the other side. Trim up these banners. And then that's pretty much it for my layout. So I hope you enjoyed the process, and don't forget to use the code Virginia15 at the SpiegelMom Scrap Shop to get 15% off your purchase. But until next time, bye guys.